Look at that time. Look at him.
With the red.
Look at Windy looking like he's running for office. Look at him. Okay.
Playing both sides, too. Windy, let's dive right in. What is the latest coming out of Miami about this Butler situation?
Well, Molly, I don't think he's going to leave the Heat in the short term because there's a couple of things. One, when Jimmy got onto the trade market last week, when the Heat announced they were going to take offers for him after previously saying they weren't, the team that just absolutely jumped to the front was the Phoenix Suns. Butler has interest in the Suns. There's a short list of teams he's interested in. The Suns were at the top. And Bradley Beal is the guy they would have to trade. And I don't mean like philosophically. Literally, under the rules and the apron and all this CBA stuff, the only player they could trade for Jimmy Butler would be Bradley Beal. Well, Bradley Beal's agent comes out today, Mark Bartelstein, puts his name on it and says to me, Bradley Beal has had no discussions about waiving his no-trade clause. I haven't talked to the Suns about it. I haven't talked to any other teams about it, not Miami, not anybody else. So forget about these 3 or 4 team things. Forget about anybody saying that there's a list. None of that's true. And I have to tell you, Molly, Mark Bartelstein, who's been doing this job for 30 years, couldn't have been more emphatic telling me there is absolutely 0% chance, no way Bradley Beal will ever give away his no-trade clause because there's 2 negotiations with Bradley Beal. One would be you'd have to get him to agree to waive it to go to another team. That's what happened when he went from the Wizards to the Suns. The second would be whether that no-trade clause would stay in place because that's what happened. He only gave a temporary waiver for it to go to Phoenix. And I know that kind of sounds complicated, but when Bradley Beal's got 2 years and $110 million left on his deal, a team is not going to want to trade for him if they know that he has a no-trade clause coming with him. And Bartelstein absolutely was 100% clear that's never going away. He was basically sending a message, my client wants to stay in Phoenix. And he didn't rule out the possibility that there couldn't be a perfect scenario where Brad would consider waiving the no-trade clause, but that's not under discussion right now at all. He is going to be in Phoenix. He wants to focus on the Suns. And the upshot of that is Jimmy Butler to the Suns looks DOA right now. And if Jimmy Butler to the Suns is DOA, I'm not sure that Jimmy Butler is moving anywhere. I don't think the Heat have any traction on any talks anywhere after 5 days of talking to teams, from my understanding. And I think even though this is a long 7-game suspension and the Heat are on a West Coast trip, they did get a win last night in Golden State. I think Jimmy Butler is going to be on the Heat, or we're trending towards Jimmy Butler being on the Heat when this suspension is over.
You're absolutely right, but the question is whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, because will Jimmy Butler come in there and play lights out, or will he be disgusted that he's remained in a Miami Heat uniform in a system that wants to evolve around a collection of talent, the Bam Adebayos, Tyler Heroes, Haywood Highsmiths, and those guys, as opposed to prioritizing Jimmy Butler, who's getting paid nearly $49 million this year, scheduled to get paid $52 million next year if he exercises his player option. When you're paying a guy that kind of money, Jimmy Butler wants to be that guy. He doesn't mind being selfless. We've seen him prove that on numerous occasions. But nevertheless, he doesn't want to be resigned to standing in a corner and spectating while guys he believes not to be on his level are prioritizing the offensive system. So that's a problem that the Miami Heat are going to have to contemplate, Doggy and Wendy. Here's the part that I'd like to say about Bradley Beal because I think it's necessary. I'm a fan of Bradley Beal, the talent. I think the brother is a sniper. He's a shooter. He can ball. He's far from a scrub. He's an all-star caliber talent. But at some point in time, and I say this respectfully, very respectfully, because, again, I'm fond of him. I say it very respectfully to him and Mark Bartelstein, one of the elite agents in this business spanning 30 years. Wendy's absolutely right. He's been around a very, very long time. And when he's emphatic, you better listen to him because he knows what the hell he's doing and he knows what the hell he's talking about. Here's what we have to ask this question respectfully about Bradley Beal. Hey, bro, how do you feel at this stage and point in your career, knowing that your money isn't compromised, about being with a team that doesn't want you to be there? Where's your pride? What you gonna do? You've been with the Washington Wizards. You were going home in the first round. You never got past the second round. You weren't making the playoffs every single year. 2014 and 2015 was good. 2017, you made the playoffs. You missed it in 2016, of course. 2018, you get sent home in the first round. 2020, then you missed the playoffs in 2019 and 2020. 2021, you get to the playoffs again. Again, you go home in the first round. Then you missed the playoffs in 22 and 23, and then last year in 24 again. Now you're a Phoenix Sun. What's up? We've been waiting. You getting this money, but when we talk about accomplishments on the NBA level, other than your ability to score, what have you really, really done? At some point in time, does winning matters? And I'm asking Bradley Beal that respectfully because you're a big enough talent where you should be sitting back and going like this. These brothers don't want me. They want me. They might want me to not exercise my no-trade clause so they can move me up out of here. They want Jimmy Butler, and they're willing to give me away. Well, okay, you might not want to go to Miami, but don't you need to be looking to go somewhere else if the team has made it very, very clear that they don't want you? Wendy, Doggy, I think that's a question at this stage and point in Bradley Beal's career he needs to be asking himself, especially with Phoenix being a relatively mediocre team.
100% right, and you cost me with Beal a few years ago with the Wizards, so I'll never forgive him for that.
He got hurt.
That was you.
He got hurt, Doggy.
You cost me. You cost me. Let me weigh in. Can I weigh in on Butler for a second?
Of course.
Okay, can I weigh in? Because I haven't had a chance to say anything, and I was going to use it for a mad about. I've had enough of Jimmy Butler, okay?
Why?
Every 5 seconds he wants to be traded. This is a guy who missed 23 games last year. Pat Riley is running the Heat. He's a Hall of Fame coach, and he's a Hall of Fame executive. The head coach has won 2 championships, who everybody says, from an X's and O's standpoint, he's one of the best strategists and coaches in the NBA. And I got to listen to Jimmy Butler not like the way he's being utilized. A guy who missed 23 games last year, as Roddy said in last year's post-season analysis. The reason he didn't get the extension, greatness, you got to show up and play. You can't miss 23 games. The guy never plays. He misses game after game after game. He won it out of Minnesota. He won it out of Chicago. He didn't sign in Philadelphia. Now he wants out of Miami. Enough of Jimmy Butler. The only Hall of Famer on that group is the GM in the executive is Riley. I think all the basketball has had it with Jimmy Butler. Show up and play and help the Heat win some games. And play 80 games, Steve. Play 80 games for a change.
No, but I mean, damn, even the league don't expect you to play 80 games. Now they say
75.
you can play 65, and they say you can win 65, play 65 games and win the award. Right. So that goes out the window. That's number one. Number two, let's not forget Eric Spoelstra. That's a future Hall of Fame coach. Ain't nobody going to deny that. He will be.
100%.
Wendy, you know this better than me. If he wants to, okay, he will be coaching Team USA in 2028. He will be the head coach. It will be him or Ty Lue. He'll probably be the first choice, and then it'll be Ty Lue. Everybody was very impressed with his role as an assistant coach under Steve Kerr for Team USA. They were very impressed with Eric Spoelstra. And Eric Spoelstra is a 2-time NBA champion, and he's going to 6 NBA finals, 4 straight with LeBron and D Wade in them, and then, of course, 2 with Jimmy Butler. So we get that out the way. Doggy, I'm not blaming Pat Riley, and I want people to understand this. I'm not pointing the finger at Pat Riley in terms of his excellence and his accomplishments, Wendy, Doggy. What I'm saying is that if you're paying a guy that money, in the NBA culture, when you get that much money, your usage rate usually isn't the lowest on the team. Now, he's been injured. He's come back, and we understand they're trying to do different things and get other people involved and elevate a Tyler Hero. We get all of that. But you're usually not dead last in usage rate when you're that guy getting that much money. So I'm just saying these are the kind of things, Wendy, that Pat Riley and the Miami Heat at least need to address, because Jimmy Butler, what player wouldn't be frustrated if they feel they're not being utilized?
Steve, he's making $50 million a year. You
That's
know
not
what?
the
If the
point.
coach tells
That's
you
not
to
the
sit in
point.
the corner on an offensive possession, you be quiet and you sit in the corner on the offensive possession.
That's hypocritical. That's hypocritical. Because, Doggy,
Nonsense.
if they came to, listen, Doggy, seriously, if they came to you and they said to you, listen, we giving you these millions on Mad Dog Radio, but damn it, we need you to step aside because we need him to host Super Bowl week or something like that, you might have an attitude because the money's coming anyway. It's about you earning your money. And if you feel somebody is compromising your ability to showcase your gifts, it's a problem. I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying the Miami Heat knows he feels that way. They need to do something other than suspending him. In other words, when you're talking to the public, well, how you feel about how he's performed? What do you think about him bringing to the table? How do you justify his usage rates being the lowest on the team? I'm just saying you asked the question to get the answers from those great individuals you highlighted. That's all. That's all.
Windy, let me ask you, how much does him being annoyed with the Heat have to do with the fact they wouldn't give him 2 years, $113 million with that extension this past summer?
A lot.
Oh, so there you go. Oh, it's about money then.
Look,
I didn't get paid, so now I'm going to be a pain in the neck.
Both things can be true. I think here's the thing: if they don't trade, Butler wanted the extension, he didn't get it. Butler wants to be traded. Maybe they don't trade him. They got to give him something to get him back and get engaged. They got to give him something. And what Stephen A. is talking about is something maybe they can give him. What I'm seeing though is, in the last 3 or 4 days after the Heat have been out there without Jimmy, the players are saying, we like this clarity. You know, we're not happy about what happened with Jimmy, but we like this clarity. And how do you go back on that? That's a complicated thing. The one thing I'll say about Bradley Beal, Mr. Smith, Beal did think he was going to a winner when he went to Phoenix. It hasn't turned into a winner.
I know that.
When he waived his no-trade clause, he thought he was going to a winner. And one other thing, I heard from several people in Phoenix yesterday making sure to be clear that Bradley Beal going to the bench was not have anything to do with trying to influence him to use that no-trade clause. However, that did happen this week. Jimmy Butler became available and Bradley Beal went to the bench. I have been assured that those two things are independent of each other. I will just report that that's what I was told, but just so you know.
Jimmy with the Heat, I'm on fire. The city, yeah, I'm here.